Pokemon battle changes, a new island and Alola forms, a super move, and a Pokedex that could legitimately kill you. All this and more on the latest edition of MMR Gamespeak Pokemon Sun and Moon. Without further ado, Mr. Editor, would you kindly cue that intro? Welcome to MMR Gamespeak. I'm your host Ryan, and on today's video we're going to be taking a look at Pokemon Sun and Moon. What do we know so far? Well, let's start off with Pokemon. The first thing we're going to talk about is the new Pokemon. We're expecting the Pokedex to clock at 820 Pokemon across the franchise, ranging from new starters to special edition Alola forms, and even the inclusion of the Mega Stone. So what we have been told by Nintendo is that Pokemon starters will start with Litten, Rowlet and Popplio. We're expecting Fire, Water and Grass to be the standard issue here, each with their respective abilities. Not much is known about the evolutions of these three, apart from the fact they're going to get some. Speaking of evolutions though, we are expecting some question marks around this because the Mega Stone will be coming back, but we're unsure if this is going to be used on the new Pokemon or if this is something Pokemon like Feraligatr, Meganium and Typhlosion will get to use. We really don't know. Some of these are in need of a much needed remake, but speaking of remakes, Alola forms are making an appearance. Now, Alola forms are quite simply a new version of an existing Pokemon, or at least in the case of Pokemon like Vulpix it is. Vulpix and Ninetales are getting a frosty look, and we're also expecting changes to Executor, Persian, Meowth, Sandshrew, Sandslash and a few others. Not much is known too much about why they're making changes, apart from this is based on Shigeru Omori's grand picture for the islands. Now, Alola is based on Hawaii, and Shigeru Omori, the creator, has said he wants it to mean the land of life and forthcoming of life, which also runs true when you do a Google Translate to find that the word for life in Hawaiian is simply Ola, bringing us full circle. We can also see that when you overlay a map on top of the Alola Islands, Hawaii lines up pretty much perfectly again, all meaning everything he's told us so far holds some level of water. Now, while you're getting around the islands of Alola, you might find yourself bored of walking. Well, don't worry, Pokemon Sun and Moon and Nintendo have you covered. Riding your Pokemon will be coming back to make another appearance. We're not sure exactly how this is going to work just yet, if it's going to be as restrictive as it is in previous generations, or if this is something where they're going to open it up a lot more. All we've seen is some leaked footage that shows you're actually able to ride your Pokemon once again, and this time it's going to give you a few more options, whether it's going to be riding on the ground or even flying through the air on your Charizard. We're not 100% sure of the logistics and how far you're going to be able to go, but we're expecting this to make a big difference to your travel times. Now it's time to talk about some gameplay changes, so let's get started with the new super weapon of a Pokedex. So we're expecting the Pokedex now to be inhabited by the Ghost Electric type Pokemon Rotom, who will now give you pointers, guidance and advice on where you should be heading next in the game. This all seems fairly well and good, but when you look at the changes Nintendo have made over the past few years to the Pokedex, we're expecting Skynet to get their hands on it and turn this into the next major weapon with a big red button and a set of launch codes. But on a serious note, this is going to make a big difference to the game. We're also expecting the addition of QR codes to come into play. Now, Nintendo tried a few years ago and across the latest generations with the new edition of Pokemon Go to get you out and about, and this time it seems Pokemon Sun and Moon is no exception. We're expecting them to try and force you to go outside and meet up with friends so you can scan a QR code of a Pokemon you don't have on someone else's DS. This way you then get a pointer, a little entry in your Pokedex and a bit of advice and guidance on where to actually find the Pokemon. This is all very well and good, but we're not really sure how these QR codes are going to work, whether it's going to be something that's a one-time use, or if it's something that basically once you get one, you can just post it on Google and share it with the world. This remains to be seen how it's going to work, but we're hoping it doesn't come to the Googling, otherwise in 20 minutes you can complete your whole Pokedex. We really hope it's not that easy. In the newest Pokemon, we're also expecting the addition of a super move of sorts. Z moves will be making their first appearance. The actual use of a Z move requires a use of a Z crystal and or a Z ring. These both need to be in your possession, and your Pokemon will then have the ability to use a super move of sorts. The actual information we have on the move is it's going to be way stronger than any other move Pokemon can learn, and that they will be limited to one use per battle. We're also unsure if the Z Crystal and or Z Ring we quoted earlier will be a single use item, or if it's more of a key item that once you have it, you can use the moves to your heart's content. We're also a bit unsure if this is going to be something that you, the trainer, as some kind of Pokemon whisperer, get only access to, or if this is something everyone in the entire Pokemon universe can use. Again, the actual logistics behind it remain to be seen, but hopefully it's going to be something awesome that will bring a new level of depth to the game. Whilst on the subject of battling, the newest change is to the gym battles. Now, Pokemon has been pretty standard for some time. You start with one gym, you then move to the next town, take on the gym, and rinse and repeat all the way till you've done all 8 gyms, and then move on to Elite Four and basically party your way to the top. Now, that is all very well and good, but in the latest edition we're expecting some changes with the Island Challenge system. Now, this is going to be a case where you complete small goals, small tasks and small little objectives on each island, all culminating in a single battle at the end of the island. Once you complete these, you then move on to the next island and the process begins again with new tasks, new challenges and new objectives. This is going to be a big overhaul to the gameplay, and this is the first time we've seen Nintendo do something like this, at least this drastic. Now, I want to know what you think of this, whether this sounds like something you'd enjoy or whether it sounds like something you'll regret. So why don't you give that eye in the top corner a click and cast your vote and let me know what you guys think of this particular change. Next in the long list of gameplay changes is around your avatar. Now, we saw in Pokemon X and Y customization take a new level, this time with the ability to change your hair, your clothes and your skin tone. Well, we can expect that the new Pokemon Sun and Moon will have the same collection of options. We're also expecting a few new additions in the form of clothing to appear, but Nintendo have not given us too much more to go on, apart from the fact you can expect it, as always, to be bigger and better than the previous game. So we can only hope that customization allows you to truly make your character unique for the first time in the game. It wouldn't be right for me to go off on a tangent about how your player looks without mentioning the new rival and professor. So the new rival, Hao, will be remaining as some childhood friend. I'm not 100% sure how you pronounce this name, by the way. I'm going to go with Hao, but it could be Hoi, it could be Ho, I really don't know. And that was not intentionally a rhyme, I assure you. So the rival of sorts will be a childhood friend, as it has been for the last little while. We've seen a change with Nintendo. It started off with Gary, who was originally a rival with the sole intention to just beat you in any way he could. This time we've had a change where it's now based around more of friendship than of conflict, which kind of makes sense and brings an overall happier feel to the game, which is fine. But we really don't know what Nintendo were thinking when for the first time ever they're actually going to let the rival take a type disadvantage against you. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, if you pick a water type, the rival will take a fire type. This, again, we're really not sure why Nintendo are doing this, but this is the first time we've actually seen a type disadvantage in your rival. This is going to make battling, in my opinion, a hell of a lot easier, because for the first time the rival is not going to be a challenge unless there is something big in play here that we just don't know about yet. There is a very real possibility of that, so make sure you don't miss the update in the future where we find out what this update is and why Nintendo let this slide. So the latest professor is worlds apart from the original Professor Oak, who most of us grew up playing the games with. Now, we're expecting Professor Kukui to be a laid-back, hat-tipping, sandal-wearing kind of guy. And we also have heard a little bit about his assistant Lil, who Nintendo, and I quote, have called his mysterious assistant. We're not 100% sure what makes her so mysterious, but all we know is Nintendo clearly has something to hide, and we're not really sure what it is at the moment, so you can be sure that as soon as we know, you'll know. Now it's time to move on to the final notes of this update. So you can expect the Pokebank to make another appearance in this game. This time we're expecting it to have more backwards compatibility than ever. Now, if you're not familiar, the Pokebank and the Poke Transporter was basically a place for you to store the Pokemon you liked and then move them around some of your games. This was generally limited to the most recent games. However, this is now changing. Pokemon Yellow, Blue and Red will now get support for the Pokebank, but if I stop you now, before you run off to go grab your Game Boy Color, dust off your old Game Boy cartridge and grab every single adapter you could possibly need to take it from Game Boy Color all the way along to your PC to actually connect it into the Pokebank, I'm going to stop you right there. The games it is referring to are the original digital downloads, the ones for the original games you get on the Nintendo store. So if you have been holding on to that Zapdos on your particular Game Boy Color game, you will need to continue waiting until you can trade that with any other games. So the final question on all of your minds is, when does the latest edition of Awesome come out from Nintendo and when can I get my grubby mitts on it? Well, the answer is very simple, the 18th of November. We can expect this to be a very much pre-order based game. The reason why I say that is the pre-order bonuses are actually really awesome. It's ranged from a poster to a little minifigure all the way to a 3DS with branding on the back for the custom Pokemon Sun and Moon editions. I would strongly advise doing your research and placing a pre-order to get the bonus that's right for you. But If you have liked this video, obviously I would strongly advise you give the like and subscribe button down below a bit of a hit so you can stay in the know on your latest gaming news. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out. There are tons of links in the description to my other players I would strongly advise, but from me, Ryan, your host, and from him out there, it's goodbye and we will see you in the next video.